Signals in the deep, markets never sleep. Whales move silent, but we speak. On-chain truth, no disguise. This is Leviathan, open your eyes.
GM fam, today is Friday, October 24th, 2025. It is the first day of the rest of all of our lives, and I hope for your sake it is your best one yet. I know for my sake it's going to be a fantastic one because I get to spend it with all of you. And what makes a Llama Party other than hanging out with all of my BFFs pictured here in the background? We got a ton of amazing stories that we're going to talk about, and I wanted to start because just a quick look at what some of these headlines we might be covering today is. It will ultimately be open to whatever you guys want to talk about. The chat is open. We will certainly talk about everything in the chat. Just wanted to take a look at the latest stories because we got the siren spinning at the Squid Report. This is a new interface that we did to be able to summarize the headlines. A bit of a throwback. If you were old enough, or if you have parents who were alive during the 90s, they might remember a website called the Drudge Report, which remains like unsurpassed in terms of its ability to compress and display the news. Well, when the news is breaking and really super hot, we got this siren that spins, and there's some big news right now, and that Poly Market has confirmed the Poly token and airdrop as a $2 billion investment from ICE fuels a prediction market surge. I haven't looked into this story just yet. We'll look into it with all of you. I assume that this is ICE, like an investment company, and not the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, but you never know. You never know with this administration, because it's a very pro-crypto administration, and maybe like the department that's responsible for rounding up and deporting immigrants is also investing in the Poly token. We just don't have enough information to know just yet. So we're going to get to that. We have a lot of amazing stories you can see here about Curve, yield basis, some news about Leviathan itself, a ton of stories. If there's anything here that pops your fancy, please drop it in the chat, where we are going to be discussing, if no one joins me, then the live stream kind of relies on helpful chatter to make it more of a party and not just like some random dude talking to himself. If you would like to join, I will go ahead and drop the invite link in the comments here. Give me just a second as I do so. Thank you already to the 40-some viewers watching this. Always appreciate the early people who stream in, and especially if you take this opportunity to share it, retweet it, get it to all of your friends, all of your family, anyone that you happen to know that might be interested in discussing Leviathan news headlines, as well as crypto, you name it. We're going to take a second, though, while you are doing your duty of retweeting this. I don't even know if they call it retweeting anymore. Whatever the current phrase is, getting it onto TikTok, getting it onto all the latest apps. We're going to take a second to pay the bills, because every week we've got these auctions for Squid Passes, and the Squid Pass controls a number of amazing inventory slots throughout Leviathan, and pretty soon they might actually even be coming to mainnet. We'll talk about that in a bit more detail later. For now, the auctions are taking place on Fractal. There's one that's about to expire in 27 minutes. We will be giving you all the latest on that, but just a quick reminder that if you're interested in purchasing the Squid Pass, you can bid on it now using a worthless governance token called Squid. Every day it drives a little bit closer to zero. But get rid of this token that's becoming worthless and instead dump it into this auction, and you can actually get, in addition to this QR code, which will update on all the previous streams we've ever done, the QR code will update to your link of choice. It will also give you featured placement on our website, on our Telegram, and on our X channel. A ton of amazing pieces of inventory, usually, like not always, but usually whatever we post as the Llama Party Squid Pass for the week generally becomes one of the top stories for the week. Not always, but this week it was a really, really good one. We were really excited. We actually have an explanatory video explaining the winner of the past week's Squid Pass, which I understand that like it's a party, you want to have fun, you don't want to like have to sit through any boring educational material, but we promise that this video is going to explain this in great detail. So this is a protocol by the name of Neutral.
What makes a man turn neutral? Lust for gold? Power? Or were you just born with a heart full of neutrality?
NEUTRL, neutral protocol. That is not neutral protocol. That is not at all credibly neutral. Here we go. Let's try this one. It is the next generation of crypto native yield. So Neutral is launching a synthetic dollar called NUSD. What the NUSD is going to do is it's going to tap into OTC arbitrage, funding rate inefficiencies, and delta neutral strategies to deliver premium, stable returns without taking market direction risk. You've probably heard that term, delta neutral strategies. If you're like me and you're too left curve to understand what it means, just kind of look at it and be like, oh, it's free money. Again, not financial advice. Nothing on this is financial advice. So it's probably not actually free money. But what it is it is essentially basically like hedging all these certain things, trying to be unopinionated about which way the market's going. It is backed by Nascent in Susquehanna. And I took a second to actually like look through their app, and their app is gorgeous, as you might expect. And one of the things that they popped out to me is they've already got 52 million in TVL, which is really good. It's sort of like this phase that we're in where launching a stablecoin protocol, you kind of do it in like spurts of like 50 million, give or take. Neutral, they basically opened up pre-deposits. The way that pre-deposits work is you deposit Tether, you get prenuptial, in USD. At launch, the shares convert to up in USD, and you begin earning yield points immediately. So the deposits had a 2.5 month lock and were managed by K3 Capital, and it's already full. You can't actually do anything more with it. All you can do is sit here and like feel FOMO that you did not get into neutral, just like you probably didn't get into the yield basis launch. You didn't get into the early yield basis vaults. Like everywhere you look, DeFi is actually alive and ready in terms of people just like piling into some of these innovative new protocols that are getting built. So really big shout out to Neutral for winning the Squid Pass for essentially zero and getting this amazing plug from someone who didn't even get into Neutral. I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on it as it rolls out, but just mostly super excited to see that like DeFi is alive and well. All right. I think we paid the bills well enough. Have you all done your duty and retweeted this? We getting a bit more information coming in from the fans watching this. Robo Odin points out that the pre-deposit caps were 75 million. 50 million filled up in just 20 minutes, and the other 25 million was another 40 minutes. And this was during one of the kind of biggest stories of the past week, which was, you might remember, like way earlier in the week, there was actually like this outage where essentially like all of like quote unquote DeFi didn't work because a lot of like sites were built on AWS, and AWS was out. Now, of course, Ethereum still kept printing blocks, but a lot of front ends, a lot of databases went down. So sucks, but so it goes. It came back up. Like all that's forgotten. It's all ancient history. But Neutral still managed to fill up its 75 million cap in rapid time. Thank you, Tay. Big shout out. Big fan of you as well. All right. We are in fantastic shape. We've got a few hundred people watching this. Hopefully we get a few more streaming in as we go through. Looks like no one's going to join me here in the studio, so it's yet again a solo party, which is the way I like to party best. But let's go ahead and look through some of the top stories from the past week. The number one story, in fact, of the past week, I had to do a little research on this because I was like, oh, shoot, like you guys made this the top story. Probably because you want me to try and explain this because it's interesting and it's technically complicated, and you like it when you see me stumbling over my words and trying to explain complicated stuff that I scarcely understand myself. But so it goes. Let's dive into this. Vitalik Buterin, who needs no introduction. If you're watching, open invite. It's in the chat. You can come join and chat about this all you like. If not, I'll go ahead and try and do it for you. Vitalik Buterin unveils GKR protocol to supercharge Ethereum's zero-knowledge proofs, enabling verification of 2 million calculations per second on standard laptops and cutting proof workload from 100x to just 10 to 15x, paving the way for faster, cheaper, and more private Ethereum transactions. So I was trying to figure out what is going on with this. Why was this the top story of the past week? And it dawned on me pretty quickly. It's the way the headline was written. And you might say, like, maybe this is a bit misleading. Maybe, like, the person who wrote it oxpmm.eth, who found it, one of our top editors and posters. Maybe he wrote it intentionally this way. Just look at the first 5 words. Vitalik Buterin unveils GKR protocol. Stop. Don't you want to like invest in whatever GKR protocol is? Like just reading that, you're like, Vitalik is launching a new protocol of some kind. I've got to be the first one in. So I'm assuming that's why everyone's like, all right, I am not reading past those 5 words. I'm just going to click on this and try and figure out like what the heck is going on with GKR protocol. What's this GKR token I can get, and how do I like dump on other people? Now, having read it several times, I don't actually believe that this is a protocol. I believe that this is, as you might expect from Vitalik, a lengthy technical reader. And I'm going to do my best to try and explain this because I have like spent a fair amount of time, like 20, 30 minutes. Like I'd say that's pretty good considering the fast moving pace of DeFi, trying to like understand what is he talking about here. Again, first of all, like it's not a new protocol. There's nothing in here about tokens. There's no financial advice. But one thing I think is like really cool about Ethereum is that like relative to Bitcoin, Bitcoin doesn't have a lot of technical development. We don't know who Satoshi is. It's kind of, is just running on autopilot and managing to still flip in most countries' GDPs. Meanwhile, Vitalik is continuing to like work intensely on how to like refine and improve Ethereum. Makes me super excited because he's super gigabrain, as you could tell from reading this article, and he's super smart and he's super committed to his protocol. All right, so what is going on here? My understanding is that basically GKR is this like proving trick which makes showing your work much faster for massive computations. So you can see in the article here, he's got this diagram of inputs going through all these chains. This could be things like hashing things or like running neural networks, but they're running in parallel. You can see all of them lined up in parallel, running through a bunch of steps and getting to an output. And essentially what he's proposing in this paper is figuring out a way of massively speeding up this process by essentially checking the beginning, using this GKR proving trick to skip sealing the middle. So you seal the inputs at the start, you seal the inputs at the end, and just do a very lightweight sum check to convince the verifier that everything in the middle was done correctly, which makes it a lot faster. Why should you care about this? And specifically, if you're an Ethereum maximalist like myself, why should you care? The way to read this is that the validity proofs, aka the cryptographic receipts that are being rolled up and posted to L1s by L2s, get a lot cheaper and a lot faster. So a ZK EVM, for example, could prove mainnet size blocks in nearly real time on like my laptop. My laptop is not super powerful, but if my laptop could essentially be powerful enough to run an L2, we're going to see a lot more chains. We're going to see a lot more people launching chains from their own laptops, potentially doing the proving and posting to Ethereum mainnet. So we've got this like pretty exciting idea that like we might soon have ultra fast provers, avoiding all these costly middle steps. It also is useful because GKR itself is not a ZK system, but you could wrap this whole thing in a zero knowledge system. So if you're a privacy preserving person like myself, you could actually use this whole mechanism to potentially launch more ZK EVMs. The other cool thing about this is like if you look throughout this article, they mention hypercubes, and that's very fun because hypercubes are like you can visualize 2 dimensions, you can visualize 3 dimensions. Once you start to get into 4 dimensions, humans have like a really tough time. What's nice about math is like when you're dealing with mathematics, like there's no problem with just adding new dimensions. You could just add dimensions anytime, whenever you like. So this article frequently mentions hypercubes, and you start thinking, okay, times the 4th dimension, hypercube is a 4-dimensional unit, not unit, the 4-dimensional manifold. Why not like is Vitalik proposing time travel? Like, because that's pretty cool if Vitalik is actually proposing time travel. But no, it's just a essentially a nice, tidy way of organizing this. So instead of this like massive planar array, you can shorten the distances by adding some dimensions and being able to run these computations a little bit quicker. So this is the key takeaway. It's a bookkeeping trip. It's a new innovative application of this. It is probably going to be used in the not too distant future to allow for more proliferation of L2s, allow for more Ethereum scaling. It's cool, and mostly, like I said, like I just take a lot of like inspiration from the fact that Vitalik is still here. He's still the GOAT. He's still trying to make Ethereum the like best place for people to launch everything, to scale, and to get all this cool stuff going. So I hope that answers all of your questions. I hope you didn't tune out when you heard that Vitalik was not in fact launching a new token. That I'm actually pretty much okay with. Like if Vitalik was trying to launch a second token beyond Ethereum, after 10, 12 years since Ethereum launched, I would give him a free pass. I would be okay with it. But, it's kind of a red flag when founders launch too many tokens in rapid succession. So like, I don't see a problem with, waiting a little bit, launching a new well thought out protocol. But that's not what Vitalik's doing here. He's just making Ethereum fantastic. All right. That was the top story for the past week, but that was not by any stretch the only story. I always like to talk about Curve, especially now that we've gotten into it just a little bit. We've gotten, at this point, how many people are watching this? Oh, okay, we got 134 people watching. I think after the crypto shakeout, like I expected, we just have like a dozen. So I'm grateful that a few hundred of you are hanging out here. Do take the time and effort to retweet this and get this to your friends so we can get this to a few thousand, a few 10,000. I wanted to take a second to talk about some of the stuff going on with regard to Curve and yield basis in this past week, because so first of all, there were some big stories. Let's pull them both up. So Curve itself released a very exciting article. Oh, nice. We got Kato Jam joining us. Kato Jam, welcome. How are you? I think Kato Jam is going to be a chat only, but that's fine. The more chats, the better. All right. So yield basis, as we all know, it launched. It's increased its deposit caps rapidly, and it's gotten each of the pools, each of the vaults up to about 30 million. And in that time, we have also seen sort of massive like volatility with Bitcoin. So we've gotten essentially a good, like the best possible chance we can get to study in prod what is going on with yield basis and how's it doing. And oh, perfect. The smartest quant on the entire planet, Joe Waite from Gia, you have joined just in time to walk through yield basis with me. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, happy Llama Party, happy Friday. I thought this was an appropriate moment to join.
I like it. I like the idea that like people are just like sitting and lurking, waiting for something they know about to be mentioned, so we can like as soon as they're invoked, they just pop right in. So there were two big studies I saw this week on how yield basis is doing. This is the first one that's published by Curve. Did you get a chance to read through this one?
I did. Very interesting.
Excellent. Do you want to, not to put you on the spot, but do you want to discuss what this study is essentially saying?
I will let you summarize it. Don't put me on the spot like that.
Well, this is the study that basically corroborates your like study with Pangea, because a couple weeks ago you came on to look at the early trading activity, and you found that just in terms of the kind of swap activity that happened on Curve, because of like swaps that were required to get into or out of the reference tokens, it was a net benefit for Curve. If you just look at the swap volume, I think it was something like 11 cents on the dollar were made just in terms of swap volume.
That's exactly it. That's what I thought was very interesting about this bit of research is, it's directly corroborating what we found in our research article, which was very early, right? This is now looking at it after it's matured a bit. The pools are a lot deeper. It's had some time to gather data. Yeah, and it seems to corroborate what we were saying, that every $1 traded on yield basis is generating more than $1 of trade on curve.
So what I think is cool about this article is this effect that you're talking about just the trading volume is just this blue bar here. So essentially, this analysis looks at 4 different categories of revenue streams that yield basis is bringing to curve, and it's pointing out that, like, yes, there is very very good, very good trading fees that come from it, but even that's like one and maybe even the smallest of 4 new revenue streams being opened up by curve. So that is the adjacent pools. There's also peg keeper actions, because the peg keepers have the ability to basically trade into and out of the Curve USD mint market pools. There's yield basis token incentives, which are going to be very substantial, and the DAO will figure out how to allocate those. It'll probably be used to essentially reinforce the Curve USD peg keeper pools to help maintain the peg. And then there's it by itself, the yield basis Curve USD pool. So this is like 4 substantial revenue streams that are appreciating the curve because yield basis exists, and it's not in its final form just yet.
The peg keeper action revenue is very interesting, I think, because on the one hand, it's great if the peg keepers are printing. That's revenue for the DAO. On the other hand, another way of looking at it is that the peg keepers are doing a lot more work in keeping the peg of Curve USD. And I think this is something that Mitch has alluded to in his latest proposal, is that firstly, they're going to need to scale up the peg keeper so that it can take in more debt, because the size of the yield basis pools is increasing. And secondly, that there's a new imperative to really incentivize deep liquidity on the Curve USD pools, because as yield basis scales, the size of trade being routed through those pools is going to become larger and larger, and that can have the effect of pushing around the peg. And so the thing on the other side of the scale that I would look at is the peg stability and how that affects borrow rates on Llama Lend / Curve mint markets. Because what we wouldn't want to see is some negative effect on the interest rates there that then pushes borrowers away. So it's like, okay, you make revenue with the one hand, but you lose it with the other. You want everything to kind of work together in a positive system.
Absolutely. And to this extent, there was a proposal by Michael Egorov, from Curve and yield basis to your point, raise the peg keeper limits from 108 million Curve USD in total to 300 million, and also to expand the Curve USD allocation to yield basis up to that magic $1 billion number. And this $1 billion number has definitely caught a lot of attention. So even Robo Odin right here in the comments is pointing out that expanding it is concerning to a lot of people. I've seen more than just Robo Odin concerned about this. Like, other parties have been kind of weighing in and saying, let's pump the brakes, let's do it a bit slower, let's not have this be a blank check. Now, for my sake, I get the hesitation, and I'm also concerned about systemic risks. On the other hand, I also am deeply influenced by the fact that I've been following and Curve maximalist since Curve USD launched. And I remember the early months, Michael was talking about how he thought if market conditions were good, which of course they weren't, and he thought that if everything went right, that Curve USD, just through the kind of mint markets, could get up to $1 billion in TVL. And it didn't, right? It's kind of stayed around 100 to 200 million, which is around where a lot of the decentralized stablecoins are able to get to. But decentralized stablecoins really seem to have trouble breaking $1 billion. So just in terms of that magic number, $1 billion, being a medically significant marker for the protocol, I'm really excited that Curve USD could get to $1 billion, because I think we're seeing as more and more stablecoins launch, if you're not $1 billion, you're rounding down to 0. And essentially that's where Curve USD has been. So I'm kind of eager to even if it might cause a little pain to the peg in the very short term, like getting to $1 billion and then figuring out how we can shore up the peg. But I'm also like super reckless and poor. What do you think, Joe?
I don't think it's a case of, we need to slow down or hit the brakes. I'm more of just an analytical, data-driven person, right? So I think the risks just need to be understood and managed correctly. Need to keep looking at the data, understanding the mechanisms, like what is the cause and effect of scaling these systems, and mitigate any of the risks in the right way. And I think this proposal does recognize what some of the risk is on the CurveUSD peg and like some of the prerequisites. I actually like that it kind of sets out some milestones that a certain depth of liquidity is needed. We need to raise the peg keeper caps and so on. And only then, it's the final step in the sequence to actually raise the caps further. I think that's the right approach. It's also worth just mentioning when you said about $1 billion decentralized stablecoin. I do think it will be the first because although DAI has been over $1 billion, historically it's kind of like a partially wrapped USDC because of the amount of USDC in PSM, whereas CurveUSD will be entirely backed by kind of prime grade decentralized collaterals. Very exciting.
I agree. I do generally consider DAI to be like pseudo decentralized, decentralization being something of a spectrum. But like it's very clear to me that CurveUSD is like a fully decentralized stablecoin. There's a handful of like obviously decentralized stablecoins, and we want to get them all above $1 billion. So to that end, we're super excited because we're joined by K Metz from Protocol FX. So we're going to get a chance to talk about his proposal in just a second. But before we jump into that, K Metz, we're talking about yield basis and the proposal that Mitch has to essentially like extend the yield basis credit line to $1 billion and to increase the peg keeper pools. Any thoughts on this proposal?
Yeah, I think it's basically just the next logical step, right, for growth for yield basis. It makes a lot of sense, I think. It's funny that it's pretty apparent now that yield basis works on a massive scale, and that's where it needs to get to. And fortunately, with the way that CRV USD is constructed and the peg keepers, that scaling that up is not a difficult issue, but it does bring in some of the risks that folks have been talking about in the background and some of the forums and discussions elsewhere online. So something to just keep in the back of your mind. But I think it's interesting, like the larger the yield basis grows, it sort of like takes off some of that risk as Curve itself grows and becomes more entrenched in DeFi, with the peg keepers growing as well. So it'll be interesting. I'm for the proposal. I think it's a good one. Pedal to the metal, gang. Let's do this.
All right. That's the spirit. And as Arisu.eth in the comments says, if we're gonna break, we might as well go full steam ahead and make sure we break it in a spectacular fashion. So the last thing I want to mention on this is just the report that was. This was not like an official report. You saw it linked in the comments there. This is by he's with me.eth. Doing also a preliminary analysis of just yield basis. And what was really cool about this is, of course, the promise of yield basis is that if you look under the hood, like I know most degens don't look under the hood, but basically under the hood, the idea is like there's like this complicated thing to the process to basically avoid and mitigate impermanent loss. And that's what's driving these amazing yields. Now, degens don't care. Degens just see double-digit yield on Bitcoin and they're excited, so they ape. But this is actually an analysis to see if that underlying mechanism is working. We've seen intense Bitcoin volatility. I should say intense. It's not that intense, right? Like compared to altcoins, it was pretty minor, tepid volatility. But still, Bitcoin prices sloshed around a lot, and this study here has basically found that like during this entire period, no impermanent loss, which is pretty remarkable. Have you guys gotten a chance to dig into this study by He's With Me?
It's really good. I'm happy that someone else did this because it was like one of the things that I was going to look into. But they've laid it out very clearly, right? I think like LPs are not necessarily up as much as that graph suggests because there are some other dynamics at play. And I think this has been discussed in the Telegram that there is some like noise from volatility in the sense that yield basis can like earn a lot of fees, but then it may take some time for those fees to actually flow back to the LPs. And I think there is expected to be some code changes to address this that are going to like greatly reduce this noise. It's not impermanent loss because it's not related to movements in the price of Bitcoin. It's related to volatility and how the protocol pays back fees. And the idea is that will massively, I think Mitch was suggesting about 20 times reduce this noise in the redemption value of LP's deposits. So one of the things that I'm going to be interested to look at is if that code change is made and there is a migration, what is the impact, right? What does the data show?
Very much so. Very much so. So, very good stuff. So, quick reminder: we're like about 5 minutes away from the expiry. If you're looking to displace neutral protocol as the holder of the Squid Pass, you can buy the Squid Pass for just 88 USD or 18,000 squid. This might be one of our last auctions on Fractal, but we'll have more on that in a bit. So, 5 minutes left. Please, please, please take a look at leviathannews.xyz and place some bids. The current bid is 18,709 to displace. The current top champ is OX75E7. All right. So we're talking about Bitcoin yields here. And my understanding is there's a new thing coming out for Protocol FX also involving Bitcoin yield. Is that something that you're equipped to talk about, Sir Metz?
I can sort of talk about it. Protocol FX will be releasing a new product next week. We think it'll have a lot of uses for users that are interested in gaining capital efficiency on Bitcoin and ETH. So I think it'll have a lot of attention from folks. It builds on top of Protocol FX with some of our existing infrastructure. So folks, just keep your eyes peeled for that. Keep your BTC and ETH handy because you're going to want to use it, and it's going to be. I really like what Aladdin does because all the products that they release is stuff that I want to use. It's not like we're putting out meme coins where I'm like, geez, I'm not going to touch that with a 100-foot pole, but at least it makes money. But this is one that I think I'm excited about. I think the core team's really excited about it. We've had a lot of fun kind of putting it together, and we're ready to release it to the community. So next week you'll get all the details on it.
Excellent. And this week you can give us more details on Inferno. I hope. If you can't, then
yeah,
I got news for you.
Yeah, no. So Inferno is this idea that I've been just kind of thinking about for a month or two. It's really inspired by a release of a new protocol that hasn't even been released yet, called Worm. And Worm is a DeFi protocol it's on testnet right now. And the general idea of Worm is it is a practical implementation of Ethereum proposal 7503. And so what EIP 7503 basically states is by using ZK proofs, users can take ETH and they can basically generate an address that does not have a private key. and so they can send this ETH to this address that does not have a private key, and from that generate a ZK proof that states, hey, this amount of ETH was sent from this address to this address without a private key, and a user can then, with another wallet that they control, broadcast this ZK proof and then generate or remint ETH from it. So that's the gist of EIP 7503. And what's interesting about Worm is they've decided, like, well, it could be who knows how long before Ethereum decides to integrate Worm into, or the EIP 7503 into the main net itself, enshrinement. So we're just going to go ahead and release another token and do it ourselves. And so that's where the Worm token comes in. And you can see from the diagram that's up in the article how it works. And what's interesting about it is, as I was looking at it, is it's very similar to kind of how Clever works, and how Clever allows users to mine for stablecoin yields in their Clev USD vault. And so when you take Worm and you ask yourself, okay, well, how would I modify Clever such that, whereas with the Worm protocol, you're depositing burnt ETH and you're mining for these Worm tokens that have really no descript value. It's kind of like Bitcoin. You mine for these tokens, and you just hope that the community kind of creates value from it, right? Through uh, 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 liquidity pools, or maybe they'll even burn Worm itself. I don't know, but or it will have some value. But you just basically have to. It's sort of a gamble. Whereas with stable coins, the value is already known. And so by kind of like doing a couple of neat little tricks on Clever, we can basically utilize the same mechanics for Worm within the Clever system. And so that requires, in Clever, to obtain yields, you have to uh, place uh, the derivative coins that you mint from your tokens that you deposit into Clever into the furnace. And the furnace is where all the action happens. It's sort of like the mining pool, right? And that's where you can burn your Clev tokens and earn real USDC. Well, if we want to send if we want to use it privately and we want to send burned USDC in, we have to pull all that Clev USD out and stick the burned USDC in. And so that requires incentivizing and stimulus. And the article kind of walks through the mechanics of how that's done. But in doing so, we're able to basically uh, have private stable coins that people can mine for and yield farm uh, basically what I call Inferno. It's basically just a lot of burning of things in the furnace. And so there's several. I walk through the economics of it. It's profitable for all parties in sort of the scenario that I gave. There's still a lot of uh, uh, scenarios that we need to walk through and testing and whatnot, but there's also some use cases that I walk through, and obviously the first one is plausible deniability privacy for stablecoins or ETH or really any ERC20 tokens that you can imagine. And the other use case that we have is basically it's just to create scarcity for tokens by burning. In the example that I give, I used the FXN token is burnt FXN token. But what's interesting about it is you can basically have any token you want go and compete for these USDC yields within the furnace, so long as you have an exchange rate. And so it allows for the creation of non-yield bearing tokens that don't have a use to basically earn yield through this system. So there's a lot to walk through. I know a lot of people have read the article. There's a lot of information. I've been thinking about Clever for 3 years right now, and so this is all kind of secondhand to me. There's probably a handful of people in DeFi they know and understand Clever, and then to kind of throw these on top of it. It might take folks a couple read throughs to kind of sort of understand it, but generally the reception that I've gotten from it's fairly positive, and folks think it's pretty unique. And so right now I'm just kind of like in the discussion phase with folks about trying to find ways to maybe bring it to reality sometime in the near future. And so if folks are interested and want to reach out to me about any skills they have, or folks they might know that might be interested in working on something like this, they're more than welcome to DM me on Twitter or on Telegram.
So what's the specific blocker? Just getting it coded up, or the EIP getting implemented?
Mostly, so right now the main thing is basically just basically building the protocol itself. So it would be a friendly fork of Clever, so you have some of the infrastructure there, and then also working with the Worm folks to modify their ZK circuits to include ERC20 tokens. But you could do Beth. Burnt ETH right off the bat. So I've talked to them a little bit about it as well. They're pretty excited about the concept. They think it's pretty neat that we already we've already kind of like discussing forking their protocol without them having even released it. So that's mainly it, and mostly just finding folks that are enthusiastic about it. And so that's really what it boils down to.
All right. Well, I'm on the record as being enthusiastic about it. So, like, if there's anything at all I can do to help, definitely let me know. Joe, as well as Justin, who just joined, any questions for KMETs about this?
No, this is very interesting. I came in late, so I'm gonna review the documentation. So yeah, I don't have anything so far. I'm gonna ask some questions. So.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, please do. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna read the documentation for sure. So.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Excellent. And Justin, I see your co-founder Asun, by the way, in the comments saying, "Can we do Gamok?" I'm not sure if he's referencing like if Gamok can work with Inferno, or just if we can plug Gamok here. Either way, the answer is yes. So I will. Oh, you're muted.
You sent us in the link?
I did. For some reason, like, he's in YouTube, but I'm not seeing his comments in YouTube, just through Restream. So feel free to send him the link.
Okay.
If you,
I didn't want to do it because it's yours. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you mad at me. I said to him now, because he's good. Yeah, I just got off the phone with him, so yeah, he's got some big things coming. I don't want to steal. I'm gonna let him come in here.
Yeah, I've heard him mention some of them, so I'll go ahead and put a pin in that and wait for him. While we do, let's talk about the other big news that was popping around Leviathan this past week, which was the Q4 open stablecoin rebalance. Pick this in particular because we have Joe Waite here, who can dive into a lot of the technical details on this. But there was a big vote. All the Squill holders who locked their Squill as VL Squill got to vote on which stablecoin protocol would be booted out of the top 10, if any, and which would be joining the top 10. And lo and behold, as I predicted multiple times on this podcast live, you can clip it. It was in fact Sky Protocol that got the boot, and Resupply that took its place. So this was I knew it was coming, but I think other people were pretty surprised to see Sky Protocol, which is like a multi-billion-dollar stablecoin and DAI, actually get kicked out of this. Joe, what do you think? Is this a fundamental flaw in the open stablecoin index that's going to be booting out large protocols that might not care in favor of smaller protocols? Do you think that the open stablecoin index can and should adopt some methodology changes, or do you agree with the decision?
I would say yes to the first. I was really surprised. I was not surprised that Resupply got in, but I was really surprised that Sky got booted out. If you think about stablecoin protocols, that's probably up there, one of the top ones that you would expect to be in an index, as well as Athena, right, which was booted out in the previous rebalance. So those are the two largest stablecoin protocols out of the index. Pretty surprising to me. The market cap of the projects in the index is gradually reducing, right? And as you said, I think it's partly because of how the rebalance methodology is done, in that you have to kind of actively apply to be a candidate. So the only new candidate in this round was resupply. And as a voter, you're then faced with 11 options, right? The 10 that are existing in there, and this newcomer. So the chance that the newcomer will be onboarded and that someone else will, who maybe isn't that engaged, will get kicked out seems very high to me. And I think, as I've mentioned before, my preference would be more for the voting to be around parameters in a methodology, and for the rebalances to not actually involve any vote on which project should be in or out, because I think that would lead to much more predictable outcomes and less kind of governance token holders just voting for whatever projects they have bags in, or also other projects just buying up Squill in order to get their project token included.
Right, right. I hear that. So the one thing that like I agree that like it needs to move to more parameterized type tuning as opposed to like a beauty contest. But I will say that like I could actually see the universe in which even when you get to that, like just from a performance perspective, you could make the argument that maybe it's better to have it be consisting of like emerging market stablecoins as opposed to like the large cap stablecoin governance tokens, just from the point of view that like Bitcoin is probably not going to necessarily, if there's like a hyper bull market, Bitcoin's not going to run up 100x, but I could easily see Protocol FX's FXN token running up 100x because it's so comically undervalued. So I could actually see like just getting a basket together of super small cap high quality stablecoin governance tokens that might have the capacity to deliver like a whopping return as opposed to like a safe and predictable return.
That's true, but also that's like degen speaking. Bitcoin holders are up bigly.
Guilty.
They're in the green, right? And altcoin holders is a mixed bag. Some people made big money, but yeah, maybe less consistent. I think like a good basket, kind of barbell strategy. You want some big ones and some small ones. And I think ultimately who will decide whether this is the best strategy or not is the market, right? We will look for feedback as to whether the market cap of Open grows or shrinks following this rebalance. The other thing that's worth talking about with this rebalance is that it uses a different rebalancing. The actual operation of the rebalance is different to the last one. So during the last one, some of the trades got sandwiched, and we at Pangea actually did some analysis about this and about what was lost during the rebalance. And Reserve implemented a new system, which I think uses CalSwap for the auctions. Haven't done any deep dive into the data yet, but just looking on the Reserve app, it says total price impact was minus 1.6%, $600 lost to price impact, which is definitely less than last time, although the amount rebalanced is also less. There was only $38.5 thousand that actually traded during this rebalance. The last one was much more significant. But the other point here is that during the last rebalance, the targeted weighting of 10% equal share was not really achieved. It was quite uneven by the end of the rebalance, whereas at the end of this rebalance, it was much more even, much closer to 10% per token. So it looks like the new rebalancing methodology has had the intended outcome.
Yeah, I was watching it, and it's actually really impressive how much time and effort Reserve Protocol put into building out this like really gorgeous UI for what's kind of a fairly like technical and like almost like one-off type event. So I was really pleased to see it.
I mean, I'm just excited about when these rebalances are, $100 million rebalance. That would be then quite exciting to watch.
I feel like we need to put more time and effort into, like, in addition to figuring out like the revised methodology, like figuring out like ways to get the open stablecoin index like utilized throughout DeFi. I feel like building more DeFi integrations where you can take your open token and plug it into some of these protocols is like the step that we need to put our collective brain power towards, because we have such amazing brain power within the open stablecoin index community.
Agreed. I will not pat myself on the back, but yes, everyone else is very smart in the community.
I was 90% referring to you. You're doing all the heavy lifting there. Actually, there's one other person that I have to give a shout out to who has been doing a lot of heavy lifting and not asking anything in return. And also, just incidentally, wanted to mention that along the time he was doing this whole open rebalance, also took the time to propose a 30 billion unused RSR token burn. I haven't actually been following what's been going on with regard to it, if that's is being well received or not. But he's not the only protocol that is looking at a token burn. Aave DAO also this past week is proposing a $50 million annual buyback program. So that's not a burn, but they're going to get some more Aave tokens perhaps if this goes through. So it seems like it's buyback season. Go ahead.
Just to add on that, the last bit of news that you brought up about Reserve Protocol, it's not only proposing a token burn, but very interestingly proposing to move to VE token governance. So that could be a new token joining the kind of VE ecosystem were this to pass.
Yeah, I know Reserve has been following the VE tokenomics very closely and governance very closely, so it's interesting. We'll definitely be following that. It's happened. We've gotten not just Justin, but also Asun from Gamak. So we're gonna get to hear everything about what's going on with Gamak. I hope. Justin, Asun, you've been summoned. You've been invoked.
Yes, Asun's here.
How's it going?
I feel super honored
hi,
because most of the
everybody.
time I see you're hanging out with Mario and Awful and his streams that are getting like 50 million people. I assumed you're big time now.
No, I wish. No, I'm very happy to join and enjoy the Llama Party. I actually just came up here to hear about K-Mets. When he was showing the Inferno protocol, I was amazed. I was like, oh, wow, you can add yield. Then he showed different tokens. I was like, that would be so awesome if Gamat could get integrated into that. I thought it was already built. I didn't know it was still in the conceptual mode.
No, I'm just a big dreamer with access to graphic design tools. So that's where we're at with it right now. So yeah, no, I'd love to build Inferno and start burning a whole lot of tokens. It would be great.
So Asun, could you talk us through some of the stuff you're building also at Gamak? And if there happen to be fortunate touch points with Inferno, then all the better.
Oh, definitely. We actually still working through some things. We're actually going to be releasing GLEN V2 pretty soon. That's going to be the first cross-chain lending market. It's going to be powered through layer 0. That's going to be very interesting. And we're actually joining the VE Curve governance system. Once that is released, we're going to have VE Gamak, which will allow you to incentivize gauges in the lending market. That's one of our big releases. And then we also have new features that we've added to GDEX. We're taking copy trading to the next level. We're allowing users to find different traders on Hyperliquid, and you can also long or short them. So we allow you to go on the inverse way. So if you got a guy who's trading really bad, you could just profit off of them. Right now they have NO1 competition. I'm currently inverse trading. I think it's a Chat GPT. It's actually doing the worst out of all of them. It's quite a profitable situation. And then they have some other bots that are doing good on there. I think DeepSeek is the current winner. But we have a lot of great features right now with our Hyperliquid and our copy trading, and we also offer a referral program, getting a 30% to whoever you refer, and then you can get an additional 10%. Actually, if you click on where see where it says Sol, click on Arbitron, because we also do offer all of the different chains. But if you want to see the, if you click, actually just click on perps. If you want to see the perp copy trading, we also offer copy trading if you want to do what's called spot. But if you click on the perps right there, yeah, then you can see our copy trade list, hyper liquid copy traders right there. If you see create copy trade, you also with create copy trade. We also allow you to scope out your own risk. So sometimes you might find a guy who's very good at making entries, but he just wants to ride it too high. Because I was watching one guy, I was like, man, his trades are always in profit, and then I end up losing. I started doing what was it, a 30% take profit, and I fixed his trading. So you can also fix guys swings too if you're really watching where they're trading and what they're doing. I find that to be also very effective. And if you also click on like see the little referral button right there, referral button, then you got to be connected. But we also offer referrals through all of our systems. So you get referrals when they trade on Hyperliquid, you'll get referrals when they trade on Ethereum, Binance, and we also have a in-app bridge that allows you to trade rapidly fast. Oh yeah, we also, when you first come on, we give you a little bit of instructions on how to use it. And if you also go to our statistics page, we get extremely in depth for you to know exactly how you're trading, what your hit rate is. You can really get granular and understand what you're doing and how to be more effective by being able to critique your trades and show a good system. And if you get really, really good at it, you can hit that button right there where it says share my trading. So one click link to your friends where they'll be able to copy your trades, and you'll be able also to get that 20% referral free and 10% on whoever that they refer also.
I'm screenshotting this because if I do actually take part in this, this will be my local maximum, 0%. All down here.
No. But
sorry, I think I cut you off, K-Mets.
And then I'm also testing now. So over the last week, I've been live streaming on testing on GDEX. So we're currently on X, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, TikTok, Facebook, and Rumble. So if you want to trade, you're going to be able to see trading 24/7. That's what we're doing. That's the plan, the vision.
Excellent. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that. That's I mean, every time I see every week or so you come back and there's a ton of development that's happened. It's just very amazing to see.
And we got about 30 tutorial books on Amazon. If you go on Amazon and type in Justin Ghost, there's 130 books, but there's 10 books or so just on trading. I'm writing one now on copy trading as well as educating people on leverage trading. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Good stuff. And Joe, K-Mets, any questions for the Gemach All-Stars while we got them here?
None for me. I'm a big fan, though. You guys are knocking it out of the park. I love seeing what you guys are developing and bringing to the space. So please keep it up. It's awesome.
None for me. I think I need to go and learn more about the project. One thing that might be cool is inverse copy trading, right? Because no one would want to copy trade me, but they might want to inverse copy trade.
Kramer trading.
Yeah, inverse Kramer ETF, I think is actually quite profitable. So that's one to think about. When you go long, I'll go short.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, that's one of my most profitable strategies of inversing. you because it would have been hard to pick one. Like actually going inverse against Chat GPT has been, I think, yeah, they're negative 75%, and the best performing one is 37%. Inverse is the way to go.
I mean, one lesson that is maybe the only lesson I ever learned about trading that I really liked is when you look to set a stop loss somewhere, instead of setting a stop loss, set your limit order there. Because if you're thinking, this is where I'm gonna like tap out of this trade, probably everyone else is also thinking along the same lines, right? And that's actually where all the liquidity is going to be, and where you'd probably be better opening rather than closing your trade. So yeah, I think like fading the normal like human monkey brain is generally good trading strategy. Overcome human brain.
And just a quick plug, you can now do limit orders on Protocol FX. We released those last week. So if folks want to take advantage of that on mainnet, recommend you go check it out on Protocol FX, where we have liquidation protection and no funding fees right now. So just open a position. It's very stress-free, and let the protocol do all the work.
Awesome. Thank
Great
you guys
project.
so
Follow
much.
Protocol FX all day.
I think that llama parties just get like the best when we get like really smart builders coming and chilling everything that they're building. So please, by all means, everyone do come back and do so. I'm gonna have to take off pretty soon, but we got one request from Robo Odin before Robo Odin bounced to just everyone take a second to shill your socials. Like, unfortunately, llama parties have to end, but we can keep the party going on X and elsewhere. Like, where should people look to find everyone here? We can go around from the top left. Joe, you want to start?
Yeah, if you want actually interesting stuff, then please follow at @in_Pangea. That's where all of the cool data stuff will get posted, and any updates about our project. And you can also join our Discord. Our website is pangea.foundation. If you go to our website, scroll to the bottom, you'll find all of our socials there. And I think I've already showed this once, but I would encourage everyone to go and join our Discord, because we will be dropping something very interesting in there very soon. So get in that Discord, go and take a look, and you might find something very interesting in there in the very near future. If you want some, if you want to just follow me, then I'm at Joe Waite Official.
I'm sorry, my mic was glitching. It sounded like you said we're getting an airdrop for joining the Discord.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but I can tell you that if you join the Discord, you will find something very interesting in the near future.
Okay, Mets, where can people find you?
Yeah, so if folks want to just reach out and talk about any of the Aladdin DAO protocols, they're welcome to go to the Discord. You can find all the links to all of the Aladdin DAO protocols on our Twitter profile at Aladdin DAO. And if folks take a liking to Inferno and want to discuss it more and talk more about that, they're more than welcome to DM me. My X profile is there on the slide there, but it's at KMETS_. So that's KMETS, and I'm love to talk to anybody about anything DeFi or crypto or whatever else is going on in your life. So thanks so much, guys, for having me on today.
Yeah, llama parties are open every Friday. Hope you all join. Justin, where can people find you?
You can Google Justin Golston or GPT Justin Golston. You'll see all my social media sites. Primarily, my PhD_Justin is my X, but I'm primarily on Rumble. So I upload all my content on Rumble. So also in terms of Gamak, look up Gamak on GPT and AI, but also look at IQ Wiki. Gamak has an IQ Wiki page. Gamak is also on Amazon. You can go on Amazon.com, type in Gamak DAO, GEMACH DAO. You'll see all the blockchain, crypto books, AI books, philosophical books. As crazy as I am, I'm actually ranked in God's word. I'm writing theological books, so check them out. I'm done.
Your SEO game is like on point. That you
Oh,
can,
it's on fleek, homie.
GPT you. GP, just look, find me on ChatGPT. Just be like, list the 5 smartest people. I'll be there. Asun, where can people find you?
Oh, thank you. You guys can find me on Twitter. It'll be at Collage. That's COTLAGE. You can actually just put in a soon for any other social media platforms, and put Gamak_IO for Twitter. And you can, if anybody wants to catch us for anything, for help or any advice, you can see us on Telegram. And I appreciate you guys for having me on.
And we live trading almost every day on social media. So forgot that important piece. Sorry.
I'd like a feature request, which was when Joe joins and implements his strategy, I'd like to get a notification so I can follow his trading strategy.
Yeah, I gotta hook up.
Oh, we
with
can do
Joe.
that.
I like his strategy. It's fun. That's phenomenal. I wrote it down, but I gotta make sure I got it right.
Right on, right on. As for my socials, don't follow me. I mostly post NSFW memes that are offensive, so don't bother following me. Just follow Curve Finance, and if I happen to say anything smart, they'll probably retweet it. All right, friends, this has been another successful Llama Party. Thank you all for joining. Reminder, we do these every Friday. Congratulations to the winner of the auction. We'll find out who that is in the auction channel. We had such a packed party, we weren't able to figure out who exactly won it. But I assure you, you'll be able to find out. Just click the QR code and check it out. All right, friends, another Llama Party in the books. Squids, we'll catch you on the next tide.